All right, let's talk about the United Kingdom. You've probably heard of it. Land of ancient castles, a massive hub for global finance, and yeah, some pretty strange traditions. But here's the really interesting part. How on earth does one single kingdom also function as four completely separate nations? Well, that's what we're going to dig into. And this map really lays out the central puzzle, doesn't it? It's one kingdom, but it's also four nations. I mean, you've got England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, all technically together, but each with its own totally unique vibe and identity. So how does that work?
So here's the game plan for our tour. First, we're going to unravel that whole one kingdom, four nations thing. Then, we'll do a quick spin through each country. After that, we'll check out some incredible landmarks and legends, and then dive into some of the quirky stuff before we wrap it all up.
Okay, let's get right to it and unpack this really unique setup. One kingdom, made up of four distinct nations. Okay, let's get the big picture stuff out of the way first. The official name is, well, it's a bit of a mouthful. The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. We're talking about a population of around 68 million people. The capital, of course, is London, and the government, it's a constitutional monarchy. That means you have a king, in this case King Charles III, as the head of state, but the real power lies with the parliament that actually runs the country. And here they are, the four parts that make up the whole. You've got England, Scotland, and Wales, which all share the island of Great Britain. And then there's Northern Ireland, which, just like the name says, sits on the northern tip of the island it shares with the Republic of Ireland.
All right, time for our grand tour. Let's zoom in a little closer and see what makes each of these four countries tick.
First stop, England. It's the biggest and most populated of the four, and its symbol is that iconic red rose.
You really can't talk about England without talking about London. It's an absolute powerhouse, one of the world's top financial hubs. And culturally, well, its influence is just massive. I mean, this is the place that gave us Shakespeare and the Beatles. And you know sports are a huge deal here. Football and cricket are practically religions. Okay, let's head north now to Scotland, a land of absolutely stunning highlands and deep lochs. Its symbol? The thistle. Prickly, but beautiful.
Scotland has such a fiercely distinct identity. Did you know it's where golf was invented? Its economy is a mix of old and new, from North Sea oil to renewables. And of course, there's its most famous export, Scotch whiskey, which is loved all over the globe. Culturally, it punches way above its weight, giving us icons like the original James Bond himself, Sean Connery. Now we're heading west, into Wales, a country that has, let's be honest, probably the coolest national symbol out there, the fiery red dragon.
Wales is known as the land of song, and people there are incredibly passionate about rugby. But what's really amazing is its cultural identity, and a huge part of that is the language. You'll see Welsh on street signs and actually hear people speaking it. It's not just a piece of history, it's a living, breathing part of the country. And for our last stop on the tour, we're off to Northern Ireland, represented by the famous shamrock. Now, Northern Ireland has this rich industrial past, but today it's really making a huge name for itself in a totally different field, film and TV. Its incredible landscapes were the backdrop for a ton of scenes in Game of Thrones, and that's brought a massive new wave of tourism and global attention to the country. So, now that we've seen a little of each nation, let's talk about the history that's literally carved into the land itself. 4,000 years. Just let that sink in. That's how old Stonehenge is. It's actually older than the Great Pyramids of Giza. And even today, nobody's 100% sure how or why it was built. It's just this incredible, mysterious monument to ancient human ingenuity. So, if you're a fan of castles, Wales is the place you need to go, period. It has over 600 of them. That's more per square kilometer than anywhere else on the planet. I mean, you can't go far without basically tripping over a piece of history, from giant medieval fortresses to these beautiful romantic ruins. And we go from man-made wonders right to a natural one. Up in the Scottish Highlands, you'll find Ben Nevis, which is the highest point in all of the British Isles. It's this rugged, stunning peak that draws climbers and hikers from literally all over the world. Okay, so we've done the serious history, but beyond all that, the UK is just a place of wonderfully strange customs. Let's dive into the fun, quirky side of British life. Okay, pay attention, because this is super important if you ever visit. It might look simple, but this is a classic trap for tourists. In the UK, those things on the left,
They're chips. The ones on the right, those are crisps. Get this wrong, and you'll immediately blow your cover. It's a total rookie mistake. This is just fantastic. At the historic Tower of London, there's this ancient legend that the fate of the entire kingdom rests on some birds. The saying goes, if the ravens ever leave, the kingdom will fall. So, just to be safe, they keep 7 ravens there as official guardians of the tower, and they even have a dedicated raven master to look after them. No pressure.
You know, British food sometimes gets a bad rap, but you can't say it doesn't have some memorable names. And don't worry, Toad in the Hole has 0 toads in it. It's just sausages baked into a big, fluffy batter. And Spotted Dick is a sweet, steamed pudding. The others, well, they're just as fun and descriptive.
So, as we start to wrap this up, let's just pull back for one last look at the big picture.
So there you have it. We've gone on this whirlwind tour from stones that are 4,000 years old all the way to modern-day cultural powerhouses. We've seen how one single kingdom can be made up of 4 incredibly proud and distinct nations. Each one is just packed with its own history, its own innovations, and yeah, its own quirky charm. So I guess the only real question left is, where would you want to explore first?